Didn't the church officials make a lot of money off the church? Didn't they used to sell tickets into heaven? Am I correct or incorrect?
You're right, that happened. Do you think those are the dudes who wrote the Gospels?
Nope.
What happened to the guys who wrote the Gospels? Did they get tickets and get money and drive BMWs? What happened to them, sir? Historically, what happened to Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Peter, James, Simon the Zealot, Thaddeus, Bartholomew? What happened to those guys?
You tell me.
They all got killed for their insistence that they saw Jesus risen from the dead. So, you see, that's why I'm asking you, sir. Why are you credible? See, you've got to be very careful the way you answer that question, right? I mean, what determines credibility? First of all, you better get the facts right. And the facts are that all the guys in the first century who wrote the Gospels, who wrote the letters that we have in the New Testament, they didn't earn a dime. They didn't get any power. They had no popularity. Instead, they all got crucified or stoned or sawed in two, put to death for what they claimed to have seen.
A lot of people think today that we have in our Christianity of today, it's so easy. And in evangelicalism, it's been called out several times when it comes to this whole megachurch American type of Christianity, where it's basically being a believer costs you nothing, when being a believer in the times of Jesus, it costed you your life, costed you everything. And that's why Jesus says to pick up your cross and follow me. He says, he that wishes to save his life will lose it, but he that loses it for my sake will find it. And that's very true, because in our time in which we live, in our culture, in America, and a lot in the Western culture, it's basically, it doesn't cost you anything. And if it doesn't cost you anything, anyone can just say, I'm a Christian. But if it costs you something, if not everything, then people will start to weed themselves out and start to deny the faith, because, you know, it's no longer free. He's focusing on the historical practices and events that took place within the Catholic Church, in which they used to sell penance and all those kind of things. And even today, where everyone's focused on the giving, you know, the so-called, you know, you have to sow a seed, you know, so you can stay blessed. There's nothing wrong in giving. God did mandate it, and God did tell us to give out of a giving heart, and to give that which has been given to us. So if, you know, in accordance to us. So if I was given, you know, $1 million, and I should give accordingly. I shouldn't just give $5, you know, vice versa, according to a man that only got $100 this week, and that's all he's used to survive, and he gives $5. That's a pretty big deal when he gives $5, you know, then $10, and then $20, and then $30, and that's all he's been given, and it's, you know, that's all he's got for the week. So it'll show based off on what you give, based on what you've received. So, but yes, the first century Christians did not have anything to gain but pain. They literally wanted to run for the hills. They wanted to flee from the scene the moment that, you know, the guards showed up, or the Roman soldiers would show up. They needed to go because it was go time, and they were preaching the gospel in times in which it was not accepted. And you were basically preaching about this, you know, and we can go into politics. You know, it's not according to presidential democracy in which we live in today. No, it's nothing like that. Where this was, you already have a king, and he's in place. And then you come along and you say that, no, it's this guy who we crucified a few days ago, and he rose from the dead. No, he's king. This is not a form of play in terminologies in which you can go ahead and have fun with. Oh, I'm a king, you're a queen. No, this means war. This is serious. So to bestow a title like that of a king onto a man that was crucified by my armies a few days ago, a few weeks ago, a few months ago, and you're claiming that no, he rose from the dead and he is the true king of the entire earth, you're now basically wanting to set war with me, because supposedly I'm the king. So yeah, those titles are very deadly, given the circumstances in which they are. And then even today, you can't play around in certain places or parts of the world and say that you're in charge, or you're the king, or you're the president, or you're the emperor. You can't just go around saying those things. You'll get killed. So we've missed that a lot in our Western upbringing and political system, which, we thank God for America, because, hey, we're free and we can say these things so effortlessly, and, no consequences to our actions, because there is none. They're just freedom of speech, which I thank God for. But yeah, this brother hit it on the head. I mean, I repeat again, the first century Christians, what do you have? You have nothing but pain. I repeat, nothing but pain. No gain, just pain. It says, he's like, no gain, no pain. Yeah, man, these guys had nothing to gain. But it's because their eyes were fixated not on what they can gain here in the temporal. Currently, it's what they could gain in the eternal, and that which was to come and is to come. So, but here on earth, did they get riches? Like he said, did they get BMWs? Did they get great offerings? Did they get jewelry and mega mansions to follow along with their mega church and mega following? Absolutely not. So let's go down the list. You have Andrew, he was crucified. Bartholomew, he was crucified and skinned alive. Then you have James, he was beheaded. Then you have James, the son of Aphilius, he was stoned to death. And Jude, who was beaten with a club and then crucified. You have Matthew, speared to the ground. So, I mean, so far the list doesn't go well, but let's continue. Then you have Peter, who we all, as a good Christian reference, we seem to have known this one. He was crucified upside down. Philip, he was, man, this boy, oh my goodness, he was tortured. He was impaled by iron hooks in his ankles and hung upside down to die. Then you have Simon, once again, crucifixion. You have Thomas, he was stabbed to death. Mark, who was dragged to death. You have Luke, who was hung by an olive tree. Then you have Matthias, which was beheaded. Then you have Paul, which was also beheaded. Then you have James, who is the half-brother of Jesus. He was thrown from 100-foot wall and then still survived. So then they decided to beat him to death with clubs. So once again, just keep that in mind. The ones that wrote us the Gospels, that give us this amazing story of God and the message that God meant for his people and for those that are to come to Christ and to know him, is an amazing thing, and was a message that, as the saints have put it, has been sent down to us in a river of blood. So the cost was high. Not the cost of your BMW, not the cost of your Mercedes, not the cost of your big house, not the cost of your insurance policies, not the cost of your organization or your jewelry or any of that, but it costed these men their blood. So all I can say is think twice. There's nothing wrong with you going out there hustling hard and getting your money. By all means, do that. God tells us to be like the ant and work hard, and we are to be good stewards of that which God has given to us. So absolutely, go out there, work hard, do your thing. If you can afford 10 houses, go for it. If you can afford 5 cars, go for it. But when you use the gospel to gain and to make money off of, like that's gonna be what you want. Now, once again, there's nothing wrong if you give to your pastor, you give to your leaders, and you bless them with these great things to have, and they're being rewarded on this side of eternity in the time in which we live, where we're not killed for our faith. Well, at least not yet, thank God. But the point is that if that's what's going on, then hey, power to you. But if the goal is to get rich off of Christ, which is why this brother is mad in the video and then decides to tell this man something, there's a reason for that. So I suggest you check your heart, check yourself, and hey, man, just focus on Christ. Hey, the time draws near. So, but anyways, sorry for the long rant. But until the next one, you already know, continue to tune in and stay focused.